You asked for a negotiation video, so let's go. As a new grad PA, I negotiated $15,000 above my original offer, and I'll share my story with you today. And stick around to the end of the video where I'll discuss the 3 negotiation strategies I used and how effective they were. As a new grad PA, I was offered a job in a primary care practice in a very affluent area in Connecticut. I was ecstatic. I felt like a rock star for getting an offer before even graduating. But my excitement dwindled down pretty quickly when my potential employer offered me a starting salary of just $75,000 with full benefits. And this is back in 2012, and the average salary for primary care in Connecticut was about $85,000. But for some reason, I had planted the number $90,000 in my head as my worth without any real solid justification.
What did he say?
Actually, that's a lie. A friend of mine told me I would never get a high-paying job in primary care. He was offered $90,000 in the ICU, and I wanted to match that. I wanted to prove him wrong, and so that's where I came up with that number. $90,000. And to be honest, deep down, I didn't really want this job, but I went on the interview to practice my interview skills. And when I unexpectedly got the job offer, I decided to negotiate, again, to practice my skills. On the phone call, I countered the offer with $90,000. Now, at 26 years old, I was awfully brave, and this is how the call went down. The lead physician said, "Sam, we are very impressed with you, young lady, and we'd love for you to join our team. We would like to offer you the position at $75,000. I didn't respond immediately. I was in shock because I had already deposited that imaginary $90,000 into my imaginary bank account. So there was a long pause, a 10-second pause, and he said, Sam, are you there?" To which I responded, "Yes. Is salary negotiable?" In retrospect, I realized I shouldn't have asked if salary was negotiable because salary is always negotiable. But at that time, I was caught off guard and I didn't really have a negotiation plan in place. Quick pro tip, don't ever ask if salary is negotiable. Instead, thank your employer for the offer and let them know that you'll get back to them in a few days. This buys you time to evaluate the offer and come up with a solid counter offer. So after that conversation, he said, "So what were you thinking?" I didn't want to throw out a number at first, so I didn't say anything. To which he replied with, "Sam, we were thinking $75,000 is more than fair, considering you're a new grad with no experience." So I got nervous, so I blurted out, "How about $90,000? After hearing my counter offer at $90,000, he laughed out loud. Ha, ha, ha! He said no one was paying new grads $90,000 in primary care. And his comment felt like a direct insult to me, to my worth. So I chose not to respond. So again, there was an awkward silence. Then he proceeded to say, "Okay, let me talk to my partner and we'll get back to you." And just like that, a few days later, he called me and informed me that he had discussed the matter with his partner and they had decided to increase my offer to $80,000 with, again, complete full benefits. He went on to give me a bunch of excuses as to why they couldn't offer me a $90,000 salary. And despite his explanations, I felt as though I was being shortchanged. So I just mostly tuned him out. So I thanked him for the offer and I told him I would need some time to consider it before getting him a final answer. And a few days later, I contacted him. I expressed my gratitude for the interview and the meetup, and I conveyed my excitement about the potential opportunity to work with them, but ultimately I decided to decline the offer. And this is where things got really awkward because I don't think he expected me to decline the offer. And I didn't really give him a reason why I declined the offer. I simply thanked him and said, "No, this won't work for me." And that was it. And to my surprise, he became very agitated. He raised his voice and he said, "Sam, this is a very competitive offer." And that was the end of our conversation on that note. Or so I thought. 2 weeks later, I received a call from the physician and he offered me the job at $90,000 again with full benefits. Hey, are you aware that as a PA, you have the power to negotiate more than just your salary? In fact, there's at least 19 other things that are up for negotiation when it comes to your compensation package. Click the link below to download the PA negotiation cheat sheet, where I share 20 items I can negotiate as a PA to maximize your compensation package. Now, let's discuss some effective strategies that I utilize in this scenario, including what I did wrong and what I did right. The first is the power of walking away. So I leverage the power of walking away. Walking away during negotiation is a powerful strategy as it shifts the balance of power in your favor. When you demonstrate that you're willing to walk away from a job offer, it sends a message to your potential employer that you are not desperate or even emotionally invested in the outcome of the negotiation. Essentially, it conveys that you don't really care whether you get the job or not. So this puts pressure on the employer to either offer you a better deal, a better package, or risk losing you altogether as a potential candidate. So by walking away from negotiation, you create a sense of urgency, and your employer may feel like they're missing out on this great opportunity or a top-tier candidate. So this really gives them extra motivation to continue negotiation with you. This next method, stay with me here, don't laugh, it's called the STFU method. STFU, shut the F up. Although this may sound crude, it's actually a very valuable technique in negotiation. During my phone conversation with my potential employer, I kept my responses direct, polite, and straight to the point. I didn't waste my time justifying why I wanted a higher salary. Instead, I told him exactly what I wanted and I stood my ground. I also made sure that I controlled my emotions and I didn't allow his words or his emotions to influence my thoughts or my actions. So speaking less during negotiation allows your potential employer to present their issues and their concern. Why? Because when you don't respond, they feel really uncomfortable in that silence. And this allows you to gain insight into their position, because what's gonna happen is they're gonna start talking more and more because they wanna break that silence. So how does this method actually works? Well, when your employer makes you an offer, you wanna remain silent. Don't raise the pitch of your voice right away and get so excited and thank them for the offer. You don't wanna do that. Instead, you wanna remain silent. Let them sit in that uncomfortable silence. Just for a little bit. Let them think that you're not really happy with this offer. This will prompt them to do one of two things. They're gonna, one, keep talking and tell them why they can't give you more money, why they are suffering, or what they're trying to do, and give them more information. You're basically collecting information. And then this might also prompt them to increase their offer on the spot, or even offer you additional benefits to sweeten that deal as a cherry on top. Now, I will say that this STFU method only works when you're negotiating in person or via phone. This method obviously does not work when you're negotiating via email or text. And yes, people do negotiate via text. I've done it with my employer, and it was really great. They didn't like confrontation, so they just texted me everything and worked out really well. Now, let's talk about a strategy that I didn't use, but I should have. And that's a negotiation plan. I didn't have a negotiation plan in this scenario because honestly, I had no intention of accepting a job in Connecticut. But you should always have a negotiation plan when you start negotiating. When you receive a job offer, take the time to review it thoroughly. If the company sends you an offer letter or an employment contract, read it carefully in its entirety. Every single word needs to be read and understood. And review the employee handbook and the benefits package and do your own research. Determine your non-negotiables. And once you have that in mind, you can start creating your counter offer. And I want to remind you that negotiating your salary package is not just about the numbers. It's about finding what matters most to you. Before you take that step into the negotiation room, do your research. Check out APA Salary Report and other resources like LinkedIn or Glassdoor. Talk to your colleagues and gather as much information as possible. Once you have an idea of what the market is paying you, you can determine your worth. You can determine how much you're willing to work for. And you can determine your non-negotiables. Now, your non-negotiables are things that you won't compromise on. This could be your work schedule. Maybe you don't want to work nights, holidays, and weekends, and you only want to do a 9-to-5 job. Or maybe you really value your time off, your PTO, and you want a 3 or 4 weeks PTO. If that's your non-negotiable, then negotiate that into your offer. And as a reminder, everything is fair game to negotiate, not just your salary. Now, in my first job, I missed out on a ton of benefits because I didn't know what good benefits were as a PA. I had full, complete benefits, but I didn't really examine it. I didn't know my health insurance policy, my retirement policy, or even my malpractice policy. In fact, I didn't even contribute to my retirement plan because I didn't know any better. rookie mistake, and you're not gonna mistake watching the content on this channel. So there you have it. Those are my 3 negotiation strategies that really helped me negotiate $15,000 above the starting salary as a new grad. And again, I want to remind you that negotiating your salary is a very normal part of the hiring process, and it's important for you to know your worth. If you have any other negotiation tips or strategies that have worked for you, please feel free to comment below in the comment section. And don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel for more career, medicine, life tips and advice. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye guys!